Ladies and gentlemen, this is TVP World. You're watching another edition of Military Mind, bringing you news from the front lines. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. Russia has once again launched a massive missile and drone strike targeting Ukraine's civilian infrastructure overnight. According to the country's Air Force, 135 attack drones were detected over Ukrainian territory. The city of Kupiansk in the Dnipro region suffered serious damage after the strikes. Multiple fires broke out in residential areas and 8 people were wounded, according to local officials. In the Kharkiv region, 6 people were wounded over the past 24 hours in Russian attacks. In response, Ukrainian drones targeted Russian infrastructure. Overnight, in Volgograd, a fire erupted at an oil refinery located in an industrial zone, caused by an attack and falling debris. Local authorities confirmed that 1 person was killed. Farther north, the Kostroma region, about 350 kilometers from Moscow, was also attacked by drones. The regional governor reported that emergency services were working to eliminate the consequences at the energy infrastructure facilities. He added that the electricity supply was not disrupted and there were no casualties. However, local media, citing residents and photos from the scene, reported that the Kostroma State District power plant had been hit. It is one of Russia's largest thermal power stations, ranking 3rd in installed capacity and producing roughly 1.5% of the country's total electricity output. Turning now to the front lines, today we continue to focus on Pokrovsk, where the situation remains critical. According to update reports, Russian forces now hold positions in all districts of the city. In the north, Russian troops have reached a high-rise residential area overlooking the only remaining road linking the Ukrainian garrison in neighboring Marinohrad with the mainland, meaning the territory still controlled by Kyiv. Ukrainian sources claim that the main Russian assault is advancing along the railway line from Kotline west of Pokrovsk. Russian units have reportedly taken control of the central train station, the northern outskirts, and residential districts in the city's east and north. From the north, another Russian grouping is attempting to cut off the same supply road, leaving a corridor only 5 kilometers wide between their forces and the troops already inside of Pokrovsk. At the same time, major Russian formations are attacking from the east and southeast, targeting the satellite city of Marinohrad, and if successful, Ukrainian forces in the area would risk being completely cut off from their main defense lines. Despite the growing threat of encirclement and mounting logistical challenge for the Marinohrad garrison, Ukrainian commanders, at least according to official statements, are not planning a withdrawal. They say they aim to stabilize the situation through counterattacks and possibly even clear Pokrovsk of infiltrating Russian assault groups. A similarly tense situation persists in Kupiansk, in the northeastern part of the Kharkiv region. Russian forces have captured much of the city's western half, advancing towards the Oskil river crossings that Ukraine used to supply its bridgehead on the eastern bank. However, the encirclement, which Russian Chief of General Staff Valery Gerasimov prematurely claimed as accomplished, has not yet materialized. Ukrainian forces still control the crossings near Kupiansk-Uzlovy, roughly 5 kilometers from the current Russian positions. Russian troops continue to push from the east in an effort to seize those crossings and fully sever the Ukrainian supply route. On one of the front lines, Ukrainian fighters from the separate detachments of Wings of Omega carried out a planned operation using strike FPV drones to destroy enemy shelters. According to the unit, the target was a shelter used by Russian troops as a firing and observation point, which had repeatedly directed shelling towards Ukrainian positions. After a thorough reconnaissance and confirmation of the target's location, wing operators launched a series of precise sorties. The strike hit key parts of the shelter, triggered the detonation of some ammunition, and ultimately destroyed the position completely. Russian sources are in a panic, reporting rocket strikes on their strongholds and dugouts. Preliminary reports say the strikes destroyed fortified shelters, equipment, and enemy personnel. Video from the blast sites show large detonations and fires. Only craters remain where the enemy had spent weeks building fortifications. Now, these targeted strikes were the result of coordinated efforts by Ukrainian intelligence, artillery, and missile forces.
Вот так это все происходит. Что? Там какие бревна валяются после прилетов. Вот прилет кассетного снаряда. А вот что осталось. Вот был капонир, блиндаж, опорник. А вот очередная жертва Валера. Попала в очередную машину. Ушатали, падлы, эти хохлы.
A large Il-76 military transport aircraft crashed in the combat zone in western Sudan. Along with the spread of videos from the scene, statements appeared, the most prominent of which was from paramilitary rapid support forces, which it claims that it was their air defense units that shot down the plane. Videos posted on social media and reposted by several news outlets show the remains of a large transport vehicle on the ground, intense flames, and fragments of the structure. RSF reported that all personnel on board were killed. However, there is no official confirmation or complete list of victims from independent sources yet. When it comes to the downing of a large Il-76 transport aircraft, this has several important consequences. First, it significantly complicates the logistics chains and air supply capabilities of one of the parties to the conflict. Second, it confirms the presence of air defense missile defense systems in a conflict zone capable of engaging large aircraft. Third, regardless of the causes of the crash, the publication of the footage and mutual accusations increase the informational and psychological pressure on the enemy.
ابو ماجد ودول الابطال ها دجنا ابو ادوما وجنا ابو حسين ودول الابطال يا فرده ثاني طيران هنا نفلول ما في والله ثاني طيران نفلول هنا ما في والله ها ما في طيران هنا ثاني يا فرده الله اكبر الله اكبر اثنين بس الله اكبر اثنين بس يا نصر يا شاطئ والله قادمون يا فرده الليل.
Recently, Russian troops made another attempt to storm Ukrainian positions, taking advantage of unfavorable weather conditions, which, according to their plan, would limit the work of reconnaissance and drones. However, even strong winds and rain did not hinder Ukrainian defenders. Units of the Piran Corps of the 79th Separate Airborne Assault Brigade met the enemy with precision strikes, destroying several armored vehicles that were attempting to break through the defenses. And with that footage, we conclude this edition of Military Mind. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.